Well, thank you so much for staying with us. Well, that piece that you saw before the break about the book launch from city to mega city, I guess you want to pick up a copy as well. Marco, one of the things I was telling you earlier when we had this conversation privately was, look, every city, every state in this country should put up those, kind of documents out for their people, because you live in certain areas, you don't even know how the names evolved. And so when I was having this conversation with an official of government, I was like, oh, that's a good idea, let's do it. So fine, we're waiting for it. When Lagos turned, I think, is it 50 or 60, a young man went around the city and, came up with this document, heavy research, and put it out there. I don't know how far that has gone, but I know it is something that the Lagos state government is aware of. Well, to have this conversation with us among several other issues to be talked about this morning, we have Dr. Monday Ubani, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And happy birthday. It was your birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, one of my directors actually said, I'm waiting for the cake. I see that. And also joining us virtually is Devo Okorie, who is a political and development expert. He joins us virtually. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mr. Okorie.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Mr. Ubani, let me begin with you. One of the many issues that's bothered a lot of people. First of all, let's begin with this comment that was made by Mr. Babatunde Fashola, former governor of Lagos State, when he was asked about this local government autonomy thing. And Marco, referenced it earlier, the fact that this whole boat mishaps, local accidents and all those things, they are as a result of the fact that the local governments are not operating as autonomously as they're expected to according to the Constitution.
Yes.
But Mr. Babatunde Fashola's opinion is, even this whole local government autonomy thing, perhaps there is a need for some enlightenment as to what it means. Because according to the Constitution, local governments are not supposed to be as autonomous as people expect, because if, for instance, the House of Assembly in any state is making laws for a local government administration and is also supervising the administration of local governments or local government councils in any state, then where is the autonomy? What's your take on that?
I don't know why my learned colleague, Silk, is trying to introduce some level of ambiguity and complexity in a matter that is very simple. What we're saying is that we have a third tier of government, even though the state has some level of involvement probably in making laws governing that tier. Give them the money that the federal government gives to them in order to run that tier of government effectively. I'm very, very sure that my learned brother Sek is not happy with the level of performance of local government today in Nigeria. They are not doing much in terms of good governance and then making grassroots development, to be even, and then let people begin to feel the impact of governance. Everyone is a product of local government, and today, no particular local government is functioning effectively as it's supposed to be. No one is happy with that. So the Attorney General took a very good step in going to court in order to have the pronouncement of the Supreme Court over the issue. And we are still arguing over things that do not matter. What is the issue that, the state is still, make laws governing them, so in that, there is no issue of autonomy? No, that's not the argument. The argument is that, look, there is a tier of government that has a responsibility assigned to it under the Constitution. Can you give them their funds so that they can now perform that duty? They are not doing it. If every local government today has their full fund in order to effectively police all the local government, Nigeria will be safe. Today we are talking about insecurity all over the place. It's because the local government do not perform their function of ensuring, policing that they're supposed to do within their own domain.
But you do not also remonstrate the opinion he made, particularly in the light of the fact that, for instance, the Constitution could be breached if the local governments get their money directly, because the money is supposed to go into a particular account and then before it goes
there
to
is no breaching of the purpose of that. Look at the lawmaker, the framers of the Constitution. Why did they talk about joint account? All they mean, if you look at that particular provision, is that when that money comes in, the state ought to also put their own counterpart funding there inside that particular money, and then allow the local government to disburse and do whatever their responsibilities are as specified under the Constitution. That is the reason for that joint account. It was not meant for a situation where the governors now take over the funding that is meant for local government after collecting their own, because the federal government gives the federal government their own portion, give the state their own portion, and then the local government portion. But said it must be in a joint account so that the state can also bring whatever is, the local governments are entitled to into that joint account, and then allow them to now effectively use that money to govern their local government. But today we are not, the state governors now, superintend and then decide what to do, and then give the local government chairman just stipend in order to go and run his local government administration. And that's why you and I were not having good governance today in Nigeria. We have been trying this thing for how many years now? And we are seeing that the local government administration is not being governed effectively. Can't we change to something that is, better? It got the Supreme Court judges to be very angry and say, look, allow these people to have their money. Let them use this money in order to develop, because all of us are product of local government. That is what they're trying to say. So for somebody now still arguing that the issue of autonomy cannot be guaranteed, and you are not seeing administration happening effectively, and you're happy, are you happy with what is going on with the local government administration?
Do you do something wrong in order to achieve something right?
I don't understand what you mean by something wrong. I've explained to you the meaning of joint account. That the joint account was meant for the state governors to bring in their own money, and they give them their money to. What is wrong? What is unconstitutional about it?
Total autonomy for the local government when the when the House of Assembly still makes laws for them. That's the argument.
I don't understand the issue of total autonomy. I was saying money. Give them their money to do what they are supposed to do. What is the argument?
Okay.
What is the argument?
Let me ask Mr. Okorie. What's your take on this argument, Mr. Okorie?
Honestly, Mr. Ubani has said something that's true. This matter is so simple, but I think we need to hit the matter for what it is. It's not an issue of autonomy, whether be it the administration of the local governments from the state assemblies that make laws. They're just like regulators. It's an issue bordering on criminality and corruption. I mean, across decades of different administrations, governors have assumed the know-it-all and the arbiter of funds that were not meant for them. Check under the constitutional separation of powers and also funding. To make it easier, the federal government takes about, under this federation, federal government takes about 50%. States take about 30, local governments take about 20. Now, that's why the argument is there for first line charge, so that the money does not pass through a joint account. The intention was that the state government should share the money, remit it to the local government, but they didn't do that. They haven't been doing that. It's not just now, that's how it's been for ages. Now, what happens is that the local government have to literally come and beg for what was their entitlement. Not what is a concession, it is their entitlement. Same way that the federal government for judiciary used to pass the money through the states. Hence, the state governors became emperors and literally were giving it to the judiciary as when they felt that they deserved it. That's why they fought for first line charge. Now, let's say it for what it is. If the governors or state governments do not want to operate in a federation, it's not difficult. We can agree as a country to change the system. Now, all it means, the implication that there will not be local government or municipalities as you have it in other countries or counties, is that the state governments must assume governance even at every level that exists in their state. So what that means is every ministry and commission under the state government must have direct presence, must have direct ability to address the issues of their people. Now, like I say, most times, it has only been tolerated because the Nigerian people within the states have allowed this to happen. Because the truth is this, if you have a pothole on your road, if you don't have water running into your house, if you don't have the usual issues.
Perhaps one of the
Hello,
issues
can you
here, yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me. Perhaps one of the issues here is also borders on whether or not it aligns with whatever we have in the Constitution. I've always been considered about the fact that, wait, why is it that it seems like the Constitution is being obeyed or being executed in breach in certain ways? For instance, this whole local government autonomy thing that we're talking about, this whole concurrent list, executive list, and so on. There are so many things that people are wondering, if the states now have the power to do this, how come they are still not doing it and expecting the federal government to do it? Begging the question of whether or not, in your opinion, first of all, let me ask you, Mr. Corey, there's a call for a new constitution, and there is an ongoing constitutional review. Which do you think we should prioritize, Mr. Corey?
Simple. What do the people want? Remember, the National Assembly represents the people. But because the National Assembly has become politicized, they've been acting as if they're in the pockets of the executive. They've not been doing the will of the people. The conversation on the Constitutional Conference is simply a secondary reaction by the Nigerian people to say that if the National Assembly is not going to do their job, maybe we all should come out and start discussing the issue. Now, insecurity in the country, why now we should have, it's not rocket science, we should have brought in state police. The federal government has provided about 350 policemen, about 250 military men who are meant to address external issues. They've now funded the police, they funded more of the military, which is why Buratai in his past said it's not our duty to address internal issues. It's not rocket science that by now, with increased revenue to the states, they should have closed the gap with state police.
Well,
but because there's a political play between the executive and state governance.
I just want to get one fact first. Just one comment from you first. Which do you think we should prioritize? To constitutional review or a brand new constitution? Which do you think Nigeria should prioritize? Oh dear. Since that's, I'm pretty sure we'll come back to you in a second, Mr. Corey. But what's your take? Which do you think we should prioritize?
The issue of a constitutional amendment or having a new constitution has been on.
That we want to see.
Just a second, Mr. Okore. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you, Mr. Okore. Just a second. Go ahead.
It's been on for a while. And the reason is not far-fetched. There has been this amendment process that has been going on. Most time we have the input of the people. The populace come into making their own suggestion of what they think should be a perfect constitution. But most times, we're having problem with institutions that have a role to play before the passage of the amendment. The National Assembly, the State House of Assembly, and then the President to give an assent. Most times, those amendment passes through the National Assembly. When you go to State House of Assembly, they'll kill there. Or sometimes it passes through both houses, both tier. And then when it comes over to the President, he refuses to assent. So most times there has been this idea that there are issues with our constitution. It's a military constitution. Let's now change it to a properly run federal system of governance. And so after that, after all that amendment, we have not been able to actually actualize. That's why people now say, look, can we now have a constitutional conference where a new constitution will be given so that we don't keep on amending?
Something that you said just now is what is really giving me reason to ask questions.
Yes.
When you say it's a military constitution, what do you mean?
Well, it was given to us by a military ruler.
By
1990, by Abu Salam. Abu Salam was the writer of he was the one that actually brought into existence the 1999, are you not aware? It wasn't a constitution that went through the entire process of having the input of the people.
I'm sure, Mr. Ubani, that you are aware of the process.
What process? What process did it
that evolved into how the 1999
was he a collaborative effort of all the market women, the students, and the populace? Because a new constitution.
Do you know how the 1999 constitution? Sorry? Do you know how the 1999 constitution came to be?
The 1999 constitution, 50 wise men. And they take input from several. In fact, the 1999 constitution is better than the 1979 constitution I'm talking about, where 50 wise men, led by the late Williams, senior advocate of Nigeria, had input of the people. More of input. What of the 1963 constitution? You're not asking me about that. This were a perfect constitution that had input of the people. 1999 constitution had no input whatsoever from the people. It was a military decree that gave it a life to that particular constitution.
But you do know that. Let me ask Mr. Okore. Mr. Okore, what we're talking about this new constitution, thing. There's this argument that's been making the rounds, and I have always wondered, when we say the 1999 constitution was written by the military, do you agree with that notion?
It's just hard facts now. It was under the influence of the military. at that time. They appointed people who were going to do their bidding. Now, obviously, it's just because we don't have time. I mean, Mr. Ubani would have taken you through all the anomalies that exist in terms of population, in terms of federation counts, in terms of geopolitical zones, in terms of how some issues on the concurrent list, which should, issues on the exclusive list, which should have been on the concurrent list. Yeah. I mean, there's so many anomalies. It's like I said, it is not rocket science. Constitutional review simply means pass it through the National Assembly as to what the Nigerian people want. First reading, second reading, then take it to the states for 2/3 adoption. Once that is done, it is passed into law. Now that process needs to be accelerated. That's why we always abusing and lambasting the National Assembly for not representing the people, doing the jobs. How much have they done within the time that they have been given?
So just
insecurity,
Mr.
Child Rights
Okore,
Act.
Just 1 second, Mr. Okore, so that we can give
yes,
some life to this conversation. Now, the 1999 Constitution, I hope you are aware, that took its life essentially from the 1979 Constitution, which Mr. Dr. Ubani here is praising as a perfect constitution. About
I didn't say it's perfect, you know, but
90% or thereabouts. Yeah. Content of the 1979 Constitution make up the 1999 Constitution with a few amendments here and there. The 1979 Constitution, the process of making it started in 1975. Under the late Chief F.R.A. Williams, as Mr. Ubani has said, culminated in 1977-78 when the government of the day, the Obasanjo government, signed it into law. That was a military government. It was something done by a group of Nigerians who took representation from different parts of the country. The same was done for the 1999 Constitution. Only this time around it was led by Chief Justice Nikki Toby with a number of people working with him. Mr. Ubani, yes. We all know this thing. So please go ahead. Do you still say it is written by the military when it took life from the Constitution, the 1979 Constitution you all are praising?
Didn't take any life there.
Yes, but we're not arguing that fact. We're simply saying for the gaps that exist within the current, no law is perfect, okay? What happens is that room is given within a democracy. Remember, it's not a central or dictatorship. Room is given for the people to have laws amended where it is not suitable, where it is not satisfactory. They can be reviewed, right? Now, that is the process that we say it is not taking place effectively. Our National Assembly are not doing their job given the resources that they have accrued to themselves. Take, for example, state creation, okay? The issue of state creation is open to the will of the people. The problem is you need to debate these issues, confirm whether a state will be productive or not before you pass it. Like I said, insecurity. Currently, the police are under the exclusive list, meaning they are run by the federal government from the center. That is the security architecture of the country. But we have seen that insecurity is local. A lot of the issues cannot be resolved from federal police. Hence, the need for state police to complement the security architecture. What is holding it back is simply the inability of us to remove the politics between governors and the executive, pulling back and not signing that bill to passage. So my bid to you, my brother, it's not about what happened in the past. Whatever has happened in the past has happened. It's our duty to come together and ensure that we upgrade, review these issues of the Constitution that are not working in our interest. There's the issue of foreign policy. There's the issue of education and social infrastructure. All these matters require reviews in the Constitution. Now, okay. I just want to touch on what Obasanjo mentioned. Remember, he said it was not so much about the Constitution, but it was about the implementation, which is actually a hard fact. There are current issues within the Constitution that we are not implementing. Hence your issue. Why are governors not allowing local governments to operate, given the fact that the Constitution empowers them to give the money to the local governments? Okay. So you can see that the Constitution is one issue. Yes. Obedience, compliance, and implementation is another.
And it's a question that we have asked the number of people who are pushing for this whole new constitution agenda. A number of other issues to raise with you, Mr. Ubani, but we need to take a break, take 1 or 2 messages, and then Malkwa is ready to come in.